So what makes a researcher? I'm made up of lots of different things. I'm a feminist researcher, an effective researcher, a digital researcher, but most of all I think I'm just a young researcher. I'm learning a lot about what it means to be a researcher, and I can honestly say that throughout this year I've learned so much about how to be a researcher, how to do research, and what it means to use those things and put them into practice in real life circumstances. So what are researchers? I once heard a researcher described as somebody who can obsess over something for a really long period of time, and I genuinely think that's probably the best description of what a researcher is. So when it comes to me and my own research identity, I feel like I've got a whole field of stuff I can dip my toes into. I've done gender, I've done identity, I've done discourse, I've done effect, I've done new materialism, I've done ontology, epistemology and methodology until the cows come home. I've been working on my research project all year. I've been learning and developing who I am, but I think that being a researcher isn't something you can learn in a year. Being a researcher is something that can take a lifetime before you figure out who you are. So I think the fact that I feel like I've got a decent enough direction of where I'm going right now is a pretty good indication of how much I've engaged with throughout the year. I've been really lucky to have a load of different opportunities to expand myself as a researcher. There's been talks here at the university on love in gaming, fat femininity, pornography and use of pornography, propaganda and terrorism, and women in horror films. I've attended all of these and I've loved every single one of them. They're not all to do with my research interests, I appreciate this, but the fact is I've learnt a lot from seeing different things and different perspectives of research that ultimately will make me better and a more rounded researcher. The main thing that I've tried to do throughout this year is to grow myself from my BA into my MA. I've really seized all the opportunities I've been given to try and make this happen. Every module that I've chosen, while it's been interesting to me, probably hasn't been something I would have ordinarily looked at for research purposes. I've learnt so much by taking such a wide variety of modules, and I've read incredibly widely this year. So throughout this year I've been working on a research project which is all about Instagram and forms of femininity, looking specifically at the hashtag trend of basic bitch. This is all about normative white Western femininity. It's highly post-feminist in its performance, and it's just really interesting to look at. Obviously I'm still developing the project, still learning where it's going, what's quite gonna happen, but throughout the year I've been reading and studying and learning so much about this group of people on a digital platform that I've never studied before. It's been really interesting to look at how they use self-imaging and selfies on Instagram. It's been really interesting to look at the aesthetic, how they interpret and use post-feminist agency in their own work. And overall, it's just really drawn me in, and I'm really excited to start this as my research project over the summer. So where's the research going now? I've spent most of my year reading and reading and reading and reading, and I've definitely got a good place to start from with the literature review. I've also been doing image collection with a special Instagram account that's designed for this research project. I've been using the hashtag of basic bitch, looking through Instagram, and then choosing certain selfies and pictures that I feel really fit with the aesthetic that I'm wanting to research. It's been a really interesting process in analysing how these individuals understand post-feminist agency, understand their own agency, understand how femininity comes to be represented online. It's all been really fascinating, and I'm so excited to develop it over the summer into my full dissertation. In addition to this, I've actually been invited to speak at a symposium at the end of May on this very research. I'll be attending the Girls on Film, Visualising Femininities in Contemporary Culture at Northumbria University as a conference speaker, which is really exciting. This is my first conference, and I'm really proud that my research has grown so much throughout this year that I can take it somewhere and I can say this is what I've done. And it's a culmination of not just my own research, but of all the different research opportunities I've had throughout this year to show off and really let people know what we're doing at Coventry. It's a really proud moment for me.